Welcome to another episode of Table Talk. My name is Lauren Brant, and I'm joined by Andrew Dick, the new superintendent of Scottsbluff Schools. Thank you for joining me today, Dr. Dick. So for people who don't know you, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to live in Scottsbluff?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Lauren, for inviting me to today's table talk. My name is Andrew Dick, as you mentioned. I was actually born and raised in Scottsbluff. I'm a 1998 graduate of Scottsbluff High School. I went away to college at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and then returned home in 2004 and began teaching at Scottsbluff High School, which was actually my second teaching position. My first teaching position was in Lincoln Public Schools.
Okay, interesting. So you mentioned that you have worked at Scottsbluff Public Schools before. What inspired you to return to the district after working at ESU 13?
Yeah. So when I applied for the position of administrator of ESU 13, there were really two positions I had my eye on. I knew early on in my career that I wanted to get into educational administration as quickly as possible, as I saw it as a way to blend my initial undergraduate studies in business administration with an area of profession I was so passionate about in education. And so it just happened to be that the position at ESU 13 came open prior to the position of superintendent of Scottsbluff Public Schools. I was fortunate to be selected for that position. And then when this opportunity presented itself, I didn't know when that might be, how many years it would be in that position while I was at that position of administrator ESU 13. And I just felt that I couldn't pass up the opportunity to throw my name in the hat. This was an opportunity for me to return to a school district that has done so much for me, and an opportunity to serve a community and school district that means so much to me as well. So,
okay. So you've been back, what, maybe like a week or so officially started. But how would you say the community, staff, and school board have helped you throughout that transition period from being the ESU 13 administrator to now the superintendent?
Well, since accepting the offer from the Board of Education, the board has been very, very supportive. In my interview process, I unveiled a transition plan that I had, that it had a pre-entry and entry phase and then an ongoing. And so they've been very supportive of my plans to transition and create that seamless transition from Rick Miles to myself. And so they've been involved me in conversations, communication. I've had individual meetings with board members throughout this transition process. The community support has been overwhelming, and it's been incredibly positive, extremely humbling, and I can't be thankful enough for the support that I've received from stakeholders, staff within the district upon being selected from this position, and even to today. The staff, again, very similar community, very, very supportive of the selection, and have been eager to visit and help me learn as I transition and grow into this position.
Okay. Do you have any ideas from your previous experiences that you're planning to implement?
No, I wouldn't say any specific ideas that I plan to implement, but I do think my 2 years with ESU 13 really helped grow me as a leader, and will be very valuable in this new position. My role as administrator of ESU 13 involved much more regional and macro level leadership. And so relationships, connections, opportunities to work with other superintendents in the area, along with the Department of Education, some of our higher education partners, that will be invaluable. But I think there are also some experiences that I was afforded through my work as administrator of ESU 13, which will be priorities with the district. And I wouldn't say they're different than priorities that have already been in place. This is a remarkable school district, and I'm just fortunate to be the one that gets to continue to move it forward. Those areas that come to mind: early childhood. With ESU 13, we held the grant for Head Start. I'd like to see Scottsbluff Public Schools continue to grow and expand our early childhood programming. alternative programming. There's some very successful programming already in place with Reconnect choices, the partnership with Panhandle Beginnings Day Treatment, but I also think there's some gaps in there, and there's some ways that we can improve our alternative programming in the district. And then, a continued focus on mental health, something that ESU 13 was, quite honestly, one of the leading ESUs in the state in that area. And so continue to focus on that within the district.
Okay, sounds exciting. We'll be excited to see how this all plays out over time. Obviously, it'll take some time, though, to get it there.
Yeah.
As you connect with the community as the new superintendent, what role do students and staff in the community have in helping the district grow?
Each of those groups plays their own unique but critical role in helping the district grow. I'll start with students. That's why we're all here. We're here to see students grow, to see students develop, to see them progress academically, emotionally, and to help prepare them for the next phase of their life. And so the information, the conversations that we gather from students can really help inform our decisions. Our decisions need to be made through a student-oriented lens, and that should always be kept at the forefront of our decision making. When you talk about staff, Scottsbluff Public Schools, and going back to one of your earlier questions, what were some of the reasons that made me decide to return? It's the highly skilled, dedicated staff of Scottsbluff Public Schools that made this opportunity even much more intriguing as well. Staff that I had the opportunity to work alongside for 15 years. So those individuals helped make this a lot easier decision to return back to home. When I talk about families, there's a great deal of research that show the important role of parent involvement. And we want to continue to identify ways to increase parent involvement so we can ensure we're having that two-way dialogue with our families. And we can glean a lot from them and their feedback as well. And then the community, we have to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. And so the community voice is very important to all of us at Scottsbluff Public Schools. And so we're here to listen and value that key stakeholder input.
Okay. What would you say the best way is for people to share any ideas that they have with the district and the school board?
Scottsbluff Public Schools offers a multitude of ways for parents and the public to share any ideas that they have to make the district a better place. Patrons can contact us with suggestions through our website, a chat feature on there, or through our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Community members can obviously always attend our public board meetings. They can contact our district office. You can contact a school and speak with whomever it may be there. Families, we always encourage them to start at the level where the question or idea or concern may have the original place, but whether that be at the building level, but at the district level, we're always eager to have those conversations as well.
Okay. So aside from your duties as superintendent, do you have any plans for engaging with staff and students in the classroom?
Yeah, this is one of the things that I'm probably most excited about, and it's something that I've missed in the last 2 years. Having been a principal for 13 years, one of my favorite things to do was to be in the classrooms and see the remarkable work of our teachers. And so I'm anxious to re-engage myself with our staff and students. I will be a very visible leader. I will be seen in buildings, in classrooms, at student activities, not just sporting events, but all extracurricular activities, open houses at the beginning of the year, at our elementary levels. And so I think in just doing so, that type of leadership, it's a natural way to engage your stuff with staff and students and have conversations with them. By the end of the first semester, my goal, and this was part of my transition plan, is to have met with all certified and classified staff in the district in small groups and just creating that two-way dialogue within our own district as well.
Wow, we'll be a busy man then.
Yes.
Exciting though. Currently, the district's graduation rate is sitting at 90%. The district has consistently reported very high graduation rates that have even surpassed state average. What do you see your role in ensuring that that rate is sustained into the future?
Yeah, the bar has been set awfully high there, and in a good way. And and in full disclosure, we're anticipating a little bit of a drop in this next graduation rate that will be reported. It's too early to say what that may be because students can still graduate, but we do know that COVID-19 had an impact on that, and that's been widespread throughout the state and even throughout the country. Kids weren't as engaged throughout the pandemic, and then maybe it made it some more difficult for some to return once we did return to school in August. So, but ways that I'm going to ensure that rate is sustained is I'm a firm believer in high expectations for students and staff. I believe that students need to have alternative pathways to graduation, such as reconnect choices. We're going to ensure that we have a relevant and engaging curriculum academic program that is provided and delivered. The career academies at the high school are very engaging. They give kids relevant, meaningful coursework to help to keep them engaged. Continue to focus on student relationships. We know that no significant learning is going to occur without that relationship, and it's not a day goes by that we don't hear about a tremendous relationship, a teacher-student relationship at all levels of our school, and how important those are to keeping kids on track towards that ultimate goal of graduating. And then we have a couple additional positions that we've added for the 2021-2022 school year that I think will help us in our attainment of this goal. Student attendance has been a barrier for success for many students in our district. And we're adding 2 school outreach liaisons as well as a family community navigator to help engage students that maybe have become a little disengaged, that attendance may be a problem, that students and families may need help navigating the complex systems that are in our community. And so we're excited about the addition of those 3 people.
Okay. And one of the big projects that's going on in the district is the modernization at all of the elementary schools, which will happen over the course of the next 5 years. How do you see these projects supporting the district's vision to provide a safe and engaging learning environment that empowers students of today to be successful and meet the challenges of tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lauren. And at Scottsbluff Public Schools, we're fortunate to have a middle school and high school, the 2 schools that every one of our students attend, to be either renovated or completely new within the last 8 to 10 years. And so the facilities that were left still needing attention were those elementaries. And so a very well thought out and laid plan was developed to modernize 1 elementary per summer. And so at the same time, the Board of Education supported a comprehensive security update to all district buildings that includes new cameras and access control system. And so that is coinciding with that elementary modernization. And so that will certainly help to provide a much safer learning environment in our elementaries. At Roosevelt specifically, the first building on the elementary modernization, they're also adding a secure vestibule. Modernized classrooms with the latest technology for teaching and learning, flat panel projections, increased audio support, a more welcoming environment will help to create a more engaging learning environment. So the work that's being done, the vision for this plan, most definitely aligns with the district's vision.
Okay. It'll be exciting to see in 5
Yeah,
years' time.
we're excited to see the reactions on the staff and students at Roosevelt when they return in August.
Yeah, and it'll definitely excite the rest of the elementary students and staff and probably families as well to have their buildings kind of look that same way. So as this school year approaches, we're less than a month away from the first day of school. What are you most excited about as students head back in the classroom?
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, but one of the things I really missed the last 2 years was the opportunity to be in classrooms and observe the outstanding work that is done by the highly skilled and dedicated teachers. And so I'm anxious to get back into the buildings and see the students learning, see the teachers teaching, see the students performing, see the students really enjoy that educational experience. I'm also excited to see school district and other area school districts, returns back to that pre-COVID normal. We believe that our schools are the safest place for our students, and evidence has shown that face-to-face instruction is the most effective way to ensure our students continue to progress both academically and socially. So I'm just excited to get back to a more normal school year and work alongside the dedicated staff of Scottsbluff Public Schools.
Okay.
Awesome. And the Board of Education in supporting our mission and vision.
Okay. Yeah. It's very exciting, and fingers crossed that you can stay in person this whole school year.
Yes.
I love going into the classrooms and getting pictures of all the kids. So, well, thank you, Dr. Dick, for taking time out of your day to talk about this upcoming school year and your new role as superintendent of Scottsbluff Public Schools. I am Lauren Brant reporting for the Star-Herald. Tune in next week for another episode of Table Talk.